Hi guys, Jamie from Boxing Life. In today's video, I wanted to give you my tactical overview and prediction in the huge upcoming light heavyweight clash between Canelo Alvarez and Dmitry Bivol. This is not the first time Canelo has been in with a Russian, as he actually first won a world title in the light heavyweight division against Sergey Kovalev, knocking him out in devastating fashion. Since then, Canelo has really cemented his claim as being the top pound for pound star in boxing. He has instead gone down a weight division, going on an incredible 4-fight run, winning the WBA, WBC, WBO, IBF and the Ring Magazine super middleweight titles, defeating 3 world champions along the way. Dmitry Bivol, on the other hand, has not reached anywhere near the stardom of Canelo in that time, but instead defending his WBA belt 9 times since 2017, with the majority of those fights going all 12 rounds. However, Bivol is a fighter that Canelo can simply not overlook. Light heavyweights are bigger, stronger, and punch much harder for the most part. And despite Bivol recently not showing much knockout power, he has a lot more on offer to cause problems for the Mexican. There are still questions about if this is just another walk in the park for Canelo, or if Bivol has enough in his skill set to win come fight night. This video should hopefully help break down the potential tactics they might use going into this fight. First off, let's start with the challenger, Bivol. For many, the Russian has simply not captured the fight fan appeal. As Andre Ward retired in 2017 after defeating Kovalev, many predicted that Bivol would be the man to take over the division. However, it's really not worked out the way in terms of drawing huge numbers or more casual fans to come watch him, like someone like Triple G or even a Canelo. In terms of his style, Bivol is an outpuncher boxer through and through who looks to use range, timing and movement to win fights. If you love the sweet science, or if you box yourself, you will no doubt have a great appreciation for his style. He mixes a European, traditional Soviet style of those good solid fundamentals, going down the middle with 1-2s. He occasionally mixes it up with his more American style, using a lower guard to help with punch combinations, counter-punching, and unpredictability. He's even said in the past his inspiration include the likes of Roy Jones Jr.
I love to watch fights. Roy Jones, Sugar Ray Leonard, they moved a lot.
And I can see that in moments in his fights. But as I just mentioned, Bivol is an outpuncher fighter. He's best when keeping at range using his jab. This is very evident when you look at some of his stats. For example, CompuBox, the renowned computer scoring system, Bivol has the second highest landed jab per round in boxing of 9.7, second behind only Triple G, a former opponent of Canelo. For me, this is absolutely key for Bivol in this fight. Canelo has clearly struggled against fighters with elite level jabs in the past. Look at Golovkin or even Plant as the perfect example of this, and even Kovalev, who had much success keeping Canelo at bay, only to tire himself out eventually. For Bivol, he needs to make sure he is connecting with the lead hand, as we've already seen what Canelo does when unnecessary jabs are thrown at him.
Which is a overhand right, boom, right there on the eye of Triple G.
The reason Bivol is so successful at landing on opponents is he mixes up his jab by going to the body, doubling up his jab by targeting different locations, and even throwing a spear jab, especially through tighter defences. The other thing Bivol likes to do is occupy the guard of his opponent with these jabs before going around the guard with wide looping left hooks, before quickly getting out of range. However, this could play into Canelo's hand, as he usually makes a very tempting target on purpose with his guard, as he leans forward over his front foot before quickly moving back and counter-punching. Nevertheless, I feel Bivol's quick footwork of being able to quickly get in and out of range is an area to exploit from the Mexican, who primarily likes to sit down on his power shots. He is not like someone like Plant or Saunders, who usually takes small linear steps backward before moving laterally. Bivol's footwork is instead much more like someone like Manny Pacquiao, in the sense he always changes his rhythm by using bouncing-like movement and pivoting. This makes it very hard for opponents to get to him and hit him cleanly with power shots, only to be left missing before Bivol can quickly return fire. This leads on to another point where Bivol has great success. According to CompuBox, opponents have the lowest power punch connection in boxing against Bivol, with only 22.2% of power punches landing on him. Now yes, I agree Canelo is a whole different kettle of fish, but the main reason I believe this is the case for the Russian is that he's always changing rhythm and staying out of range, and for the most part always trying to keep off the ropes and stand his ground in the centre ring. He's extremely good at resetting himself to retake centre ring, and to start applying his pressure again by using feints and the jab to once again frustrate and force an opening for his own shots. Bivol is not someone who per se will ever go on the hunt to take you out. He will simply outbox you all night, and that is why he simply appears to coast through fights in my opinion. However, the reason this fight is interesting is that he'll be facing an elite level opponent. The questions are over if these tactics will work on someone of this level. Now let's take a look at Canelo Alvarez. For the most part, we all know how he primarily approaches fights now. He's a top grade pressure fighter and probably the best in the sport right now. Nevertheless, the Mexican will have to put on a bit more weight for this bout, probably closer to his natural weight, but regardless, he faces an opponent in his prime and a natural fighting light heavyweight, which will provide much caution in my opinion. Defensively, he will need to be point on for this fight, making sure to use lots more head movement and feints, but also provide a tempting target for Bivol so he can actually counter him with his power punching. This is something that worked very well against the likes of bigger opponents of Kovalev and Smith, who he was able to draw in with these unnecessary shots. However, because of Bivol's movement, Canelo's timing is key if he wants to land on the Russian. I found it very interesting that Canelo had brought in former light heavyweight champion Alexander Gvozdyk, no doubt to try simulate the response of the incoming lead hand and even some similar movement to Bivol. However, I do believe Bivol's footwork is superior in my opinion. For me, Canelo has two options to approach this fight. Either take a more cautious approach, similar to that of the Kovalev fight, making sure to use slower calculated pressure and set up Bivol with the powerful counterpunches, or instead follow up with what he did in the Plant fight, trying to apply pressure at a very fast pace to try trap Bivol in the corners and ropes before throwing big hooks and uppercuts. The issue with this strategy is that I feel this plays into Bivol's hands more, as he's more comfortable with being on the back foot, and there's no guarantee the Mexican will be able to keep up this pace at light heavyweight. Another issue, it was evident at times when Plant was moving more, he was not able to get off his shots as often as he would want. For me, Canelo will constantly need to change the intensity of his pressure to make Bivol work harder than he needs to in the opening rounds. Bivol, however, will move all night long, so Canelo needs to take advantage of his counter-punching in this fight. And of course, going to the body of Bivol in the early rounds will be key to slow him down. Prediction. In my opinion, this is everything on paper to be a very close fight. An excellent out-puncher boxer and a terrific puncher and pressure fighter going toe-to-toe. It's a really hard one to call, but I do believe at this point Canelo is still very much in his prime, and although he struggles with movers most of the time, he always seems to have the ability to eventually work them out through his relentless intelligent pressure before unleashing those big power shots to take them out or leave them left wondering. I do expect some tough moments for the Mexican, but this is a fight I expect to go the full 12 rounds and once again go in favour of the pound for pound star. All will be revealed on May 7th. Hope you enjoyed this tactical breakdown, guys. Let me know in the comments below who you think's going to win come May 7th. It's a really exciting fight, which I'm looking forward to it. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button, really helps out the channel. If you're new here, why not subscribe? As always guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.